Thank you. Hi, everybody. How are you? I have a very special guest who you might have seen in some of our boxes or in person at some of the events that we've attended together with or without me. He is absolutely amazing. I was just telling him he's like a pearl that hasn't been unwrapped yet, a pearl that was founded by many, many layers being put on and on and on. He's the CEO of Ventures. Um, and he has a podcast that I've enjoyed watching when the sun sets, and it's Wolfe's Watch Live podcast. It happens at all different times, but I particularly like him when he has the ocean behind him and a sunset. He is absolutely amazing. He is a leadership development and team building company that offers venture-based programs for executives and corporate teams. He's a seasoned entrepreneur. He's had a very interesting ride to get to where he is. And his company, CEO of Ventures, CEO is about 10 years old now, I think. We'll verify with that he's been doing that. He is a top-notch guy, a very nice gentleman, reaches out to help. He is a leader, but he came from being a doer. If you want to find out more what that means, let's bring him on. Mr. Jeffrey Wolfe. That is Jeffrey A. Wolfe if you're looking him up in the internet. There's lots of Jeffrey Wolfes out there. It's Jeffrey A. Wolfe. Woohoo! And here he is, Jeffrey A.
Thank
Wolfe.
you so much, Cynthia.
You're so welcome. Hi,
Hey,
Eric.
it's such an honor to be on your podcast.
It is such an honor to have you. I see you in your box like weekly, actually. Sometimes a couple of times a week, because we are members of some of the same groups. The Grow Live Academy with Ken Walls and Glenn Morshower's Extra Miler. He makes lots of appearances on that. And a shout out to Glenn Morshower because it's his birthday today.
Yes, happy birthday, Glenn.
Woo-hoo! And we are together because we are like-minded. We are going in the same direction, and we are growing, improving, becoming our best selves, inspiring others, leading others. And Jeffrey has done so many different things. I can't wait to have him tell you about them. But I want to start off with how we both start our days. Gratefulness. You have a couple interesting things to say about gratefulness and how you start your day. Please.
Yeah, that is huge. And I'll tell you what, when I am not happy with the results that I'm getting, when I'm feeling unsettled, or the fears creeping back into a level that is starting to become an issue about what's going on today, going on in the future, I've been constantly coached and mentored. It's like going, okay, what's going on? How do you start your day? What are you doing in the morning? What's the morning routine? To which a long time ago, my answer was like, morning routine, really? What do you mean? And it's just so important, and to have that, to be able to have that sense of adventure, to start the day with that I'm so excited, I'm getting tongue tied. That childish sense of wonder, right? Feeling like a little kid. I'm able to do that more if I focus on gratitude. It's like, what am I doing today? What am I grateful for today? And I actually have a friend of mine that sends me a text, goes back and forth. He's in Texas. I'm in California. So he's 2 hours ahead of me. So I have like a timestamp of like 4 a.m. my time, 3 a.m. my time, depending on when his day's starting. And it's like, hey, 3 things that I'm grateful for today. And I hear that from a lot of the people that we associate with. You talk about it. Ken Walls talks about it. Glenn is big on that. And a lot of people that are doing really amazing stuff with their lives, that's a part of it. The morning routine, but also specifically, hey, what am I grateful for today as part of that morning routine? But also close my day with those thoughts too.
Excellent.
Like I like to read a little bit before going to sleep. And then as I'm closing my eyes and relaxing, it's like, okay, I'm going through, what am I grateful for from today? That happened in that day. So even days that weren't, say, perhaps the most satisfying, to put it politely, it's still finding those gold nuggets and going, yeah, you know what? It was amazing listening to the feathers of that raven's wings rustle as it flew by when I was walking out to the car. You hear that swish. So then being able to find those little moments, or a hummingbird. We get a hummingbird that comes to There's a couple of fruit trees in our neighborhood, and you get that buzzing sound in here, and it's like, oh, how many birds are out again? You know, where they stand still and like, see, can I see them before they head off? So it really changes everything.
Sure
And
does.
to have that contentment, I heard it said, you know, real happiness is being happy with what you got.
Yeah, you start there and appreciate what you have. It puts
Yeah.
you in a whole better mindset for life. We have
Otherwise,
so much.
otherwise, my experience has been it creates a massive boat anchor with getting to where I want to go. If
Hmm,
I can't find that gratitude, if I can't find some sense of contentment in my current circumstances, then that makes it so much harder to have any kind of progress from, you know, from today forward. Could be having contentment. This was a big moment for me,
hmm.
was being content with today doesn't mean I don't have ambition. It doesn't mean that I don't want to achieve more going into the future. It does mean I am, if I may say this, hella more enjoying the journey from where I'm at to wherever it is. Well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I've got some specific goals, but you know, to where it is that I will eventually get to.
Excellent,
So,
excellent, excellent.
long answer to a short question.
No, it's perfect
But it's
because people lose that in your day, like, and if you can't think of anything, you got a pulse. You're here. It's huge. It's
yeah,
huge. It's huge.
I was able to get up and walk around today.
Yes. I
You
made
know,
my bed.
I have all my limbs, unlike a friend of mine during the COVID shutdown. He has diabetes,
Mm,
and he ended up losing most of one of his legs during the lockdown.
mhm.
And it was just like, man, you know, could easily be me.
And share the joy and write it down. Do you journal?
Write it down. Journal, is that a French word? Could you spell that? I do, and
Gratitude Works. It's a good little book.
I do, not consistently. My wife teases me about that. Um, but yes, and there's a lot of power in journaling too. Getting in that flow state.
Yes, and you have so much to be grateful for, and now you can even do your jobs quicker and faster with this AI stuff that's coming aboard.
Hmm.
Jeffrey is a guy who knows all the nuggets on it, and we should be doing it already. I'm dabbling, but no way have I figured it out. Sometimes it goes and does something that I'm like, well, that's interesting. I wonder what I could do with that, but that's not what I wanted. I must not have made the question clear enough. What do you have
Yeah.
to tell us about AI? AI, you had the interesting thing on for AI for actors, but you know what? All of this stuff applies. Um, Jeffrey was a what do you call a recovering engineer? It applies.
Yes, I am a recovering engineer.
Yes, it applies to
It's
engineering and working at your aircrafts, Hugh aircrafting, and working on everything else that you've been doing and saving that company with your with the or was going to go under in 30 days. We'll come back to that. But just every single thing is affected by it now, and it's going to change the world, and you got to be ready.
yeah, I was a Star Trek kid growing up,
Oh,
and then Star Wars hit. I was fascinated by technology and science, and so that led to getting the opportunity to be around some pretty amazing tech and some pretty unbelievable engineers over the years. And with AI suddenly exploding onto the scene, you know, it looks like all of a sudden out of nowhere, all of this stuff arrived about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, which there's a longer run up to that. And it's like, well, what does it mean? You know, it's trying to stand back, because I was looking at it going, holy cow, what, you know, where is, and this may be a question that you thought, is like, with all of these AI tools rolling out, with all of these changes happening on a daily basis, the pace is frightening, happening on a daily basis. This is changing, that's changing, this new things come out. In a year ago, we couldn't really do a 4-second video because it'd get the faces wrong and the hands would look weird and all this crazy stuff happen. And now there's a feature movie that's all AI based. It was all AI created that's being released.
yeah, I heard about that.
And it's just, yeah, it's changing so fast. And I stepped back and thought, okay, what's my experience been with technology? This is another technology. And usually There's just two rules that I learned through blood, sweat, and tears. One was those who panic get eaten first, which is reinforced by the Walking Dead TV series. Not that I'm a fan, but it's just, watching those kind of goofy movies going, yeah, it's like those who panic get eaten first. It's like, I can't think clearly if I get panicked about it.
Right.
And I'm going to, by the time I get it in gear, there, it's probably going to be to my detriment. The second thing was, how does this help me? What problem am I attempting to solve so that I can look to see now what technology is going to help me in doing that? The same thing with AI. Chat GPT tools like that have become very popular. Well, what does that help me? What problems does that help me solve? Well, writing, generating ideas, doing some research. So it gives me some starting points. So I can write a lot faster. I sketched out, I wrote a summary, for example, with my book, wrote Performer Perish. I wrote a summary of it. I had an AI analyze it and give me a summary of it, and so I could see it through someone else's eyes. So it gave me a different perspective. And I'm going, wow, here was my 10 things that I took out of it. This list of 10, 20 things over here kind of matched, but here's some things I never even thought of because it was a different perspective.
Brilliant.
And then use that to draft marketing copy, to create a whole training program around it, to create the PowerPoint slides. And it accelerated the pace that I can do those kinds of things a lot faster. Didn't replace me in the process because there were a lot of things I needed to change. Some things that didn't necessarily make sense. So I was looking at what does the tool do for us? So with those types of things, with creative work, it helps us a lot. With specifically to acting, for example, one of the things that came out was the creation of avatars. And someone that I had met through the person that where we met face to face for the first time with Ramey
in LA at the Napoleon Hill Foundation event with Don.
Yes. Yep. So there was a gal from Ireland there, Aoife Roche, who was a good 6 to 8 months ahead of the digital avatar scene. They were already in the marketplace about 6 months ahead of everybody else, where they had the ability to take an incredibly lifelike digital version of her and animate it and set it up so that if a company wanted to hire her as a digital spokesperson, they could do that. They could create the marketing copy, or her company could help to craft the marketing copy, feed it into the artificial intelligence, and it would show her going, "Hey, how you doing?" and make it look very natural. It was very, if you look closely, there were some things you could pick up on to go, "Oh, okay, this is an AI generated piece," as opposed to actually her on camera reading the script. And then put that on the marketplace as something that was licensed out. Look, we as a marketing service, we can do this for you. And now some of the talent agencies are working with actors on being able to create those types of digital assets for the actors, which they control. They still have the rights to, they still get paid for the use of it. And it opens up a new avenue of a new income stream for acting talent. To be able to say, hey, if you want to, you can get me live, or if I'm not available, or for a different, perhaps cost, a different cost level, you can use this digital asset to be a spokesperson in a commercial, to do a cameo appearance on a film.
And protection rights around that, so they can't have you doing something nasty that you would never do.
Yes, absolutely not appropriate, not allowable. Hopefully somebody will
or say something that's
make it look like you're saying something that you're not. So that puts some guardrails around it so that you're not involved. So it's not making it look like you were involved in something you didn't want to have anything to do with.
And who regulates that? Do you know?
It's it's part of the contracts that were renegotiated. So for for the actors that are Screen Actors Guild union members, there's a whole group of things around that. But it really comes back to now that digital app, now that digital version of that person has been created, it is controlled through their talent agency. They still own the rights, then the talent agency represents them. So it's tied into that set of laws so that you still have the copyright and creative rights related to it. So if somebody does something inappropriate, then you've got some powerful tools from a legal standpoint to be able to go, not good, and we're going to make you pay for that.
So we have
And
Kathy Kelly on, who happens to be an actress. Hi, Kathy.
Kathy, how are you? An excellent actress, by the way. Oh my gosh.
It's fantastic.
Unbelievable. Like you both, being able to watch both of you do scene work is just always astounding. It's such good work.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much. And Kathy also does saves horses. She could do 8 avatars on her horses. This could be very interesting.
Yes.
So it goes to the agency. How do they make sure, like if Kathy has a thing and does a commercial and they do it as an avatar, how does she make sure that she gets paid for it, continuing residuals and that sort of thing? Is that all through the union then?
It would be through. Okay, now I'm getting into a gray area because I'm not an attorney.
Sorry about that.
I'm not a talent agent, so I'm not a SAG member. My understanding at this point is of where things are at is then that's controlled through the usual contracts and the usual copyright protections under federal law for creative control that are already in place. So it's working with the systems that are already in place to be able to do that, just applying the new technology. And then the new new contract with the studios controls what they can and can't do with digital assets. So they can't, as one of the things that I heard from some of my actor friends was for like background workers, background talent, or non-speaking talent in films and TV. There were some productions that wanted to go, hey, we're going to take your photo or we'll do a 3D scan of you and we'll pay you for today, but then we own that going forward and we can do whatever we want with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't sign that one.
No, never.
Read your contracts carefully. I'm going to do a shout out to Taru. Hey, Taru, I think he's in Japan. Yes, he's over there far away. I met him back in, what was it, 959 days with Jeffrey Gittimore. Yes, God's blessings to you. So wonderful to see you. Thank you, Eric, for letting us know that he was on because I didn't see that. And he is amazing, as you are amazing. And we have another revenue stream, guys. So we have to figure out how to use that because we definitely need new revenue streams and new ways to get things done, as Jeffrey will give us some more pointers on other things. I don't know if you want to continue on this. I don't mean to put you in a rabbit hole so how about some other things AI can do? Or do we want to go and talk about your book and your course and what you're doing now?
Well, we can, but on the AI, something I'd just like to stress is things are changing fast. So fundamentals are still our foundation.
And so how would someone who doesn't know, where would you have them go to start?
You start playing with something free. Like there's a free version of ChatGPT, Claude 3 by Anthropic. So there's these different tools that are out to do something to just play with it, see what it does, see what the options are, and do that as the starting point. And then perhaps explore some of the YouTube channels where there's an ongoing discussion about new tools. Ooh. One of my favorites has been Matt Wolfe, WOLFE. We're not related, but he has he's created a library of new tools. He sends out a newsletter. So he's like going, hey, here's what has happened this week. And here's the tools that he's actually worked with. This is what's working. This is what's not. This is what I like. It's like, this looked kind of good, but not really ready for prime time. There's another YouTube channel called AI Revolution. And I have no financial connection with these folks. These are just folks that I'm learning from.
Yeah, you might want to put an affiliate link on your webpage. Just
I might do that. But really, at this point, it's so Wild West that I'm looking up something. There's one other. I can't pull the the name of the YouTube site out of my memory at the moment that I also have been watching. But it's those. So it's looking at the discussions of what's actually happening right now. What are people working with? There's Twitter/X is crazy with AI discussion. What's working, what's not. Ailes Jules, she's from Scandinavia, lives here in the U.S. now in Colorado. She is incredibly embedded with and mastering the development of images. So being able to use the type of AI tools, specifically one called Midjourney, which is the leader in that field of AI tools, where you write out a text, goes, give me a picture of someone standing on a pier with a sunset and describing it, type of thing. And then it gives you this incredible image. So she's very involved in consulting around that, but also creating artwork for artistic and commercial purposes. So those types of professionals have these incredible ongoing conversations on X. So it's tapping into that a little bit. The third thing would be back to where do you need help with? What problem are you trying to solve? Because a lot of times the AI tools, they look great, but they're not going, they have their purpose. They're great at what they do if they're applied to something that they're good at. It's like the usual thing, picking up the right tool to solve the problem or to make something better, to automate a little bit. General Motors and Toyota in the 1980s both went big into robotics. Toyota is now the biggest automobile company in the world. GM no longer is. Part of that is because of what happened in the 1980s with robotics. General Motors wanted to create what they call the lights out factory. No people involved. You bring parts in one end, factories assemble the car, you roll a car out the other end. That was their ideal. Toyota approached it from the standpoint of how can we make the job safer and more productive for the worker, for the people doing the job. It's a huge philosophy shift in what we're doing with the technology. General Motors invested $1 billion in 1980s money into creating an automated robotics line.
Yeah.
Toyota
to do it all at one time. They tried to go from here to there without doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what happens when you try to do that?
Yeah, don't ask me how. I've learned repeatedly what happens.
Well, look at you
look
now.
Before you leap. What? Look. Oh, yeah. Oh, I've leaped. Oh, my.
That's old. That's new. Goodbye.
Yeah. So at Toyota, they're looking at, because safety was always their number one theme in the Toyota production system. So looking at how can we make it more safe? How can we make it so that people can do what people are uniquely good at? Which starts with the things that are dangerous, things that are routine. How do we automate around that so that a person can get more done and not have to do the mind-numbing stuff that we can hand over to a robot? Toyota took their product development time from 5 years to 3 years. I'll bring this home quick, so the short story doesn't get even longer. And what happened was the General Motors factory that was all robotics, the production line that was all robotics, took more than 5 years to reset because it took so much time to reprogram all the robots. And now their production line, their $1 billion production facility, was useless because Toyota, through applying robotics, and it wasn't the only thing, but it was a major theme for them, one of the major enablers to be able to do it, radically changed how fast new models of cars are coming out. So it changed the industry. GM couldn't compete with that anymore, so they ended up scrapping $1 billion plant because it couldn't be competitive.
And who were the leaders at that time of GM? Did they not see what Toyota was doing? Did they not talk to their employees? Oh, all the things that you have handled firsthand that are in your book. It's just take care of your people.
And I use that as an example of what's driving your use of the technology. If we're trying to eliminate people, I've seen that again and again and again. I started out in the manufacturing world. I've seen that again and again. Hey, we can use this to get rid of people because people are really the problem. Now, granted, people complicate everything.
And they bring you
True.
joy too, and they get the job done
Exactly.
too.
Then that's not inherently bad, right? It falls on leadership to say, okay, what are we going to do with the complications? How are we going to lead? How are we going to manage? And it's so if looking at, are people the problem, or are we trying to help the people more?
Huge.
Right. Yeah. Creating a digital version of an actor that the actor then owns and controls, so that it's locked down, so that it can be, if somebody does a deep fake, makes it look like they have a political opinion that they don't, makes it look like they're doing something that they would never do in a million years, then the forensics are embedded in it to be able to go back and go, nope, because this wasn't the official digital thing.
Nice
Right.
bringing that back
What,
full circle like that. Perfect. Nice
while at
example.
the same time giving them something that while you're on set doing one thing, your talent agent can be selling 4 versions of you to do commercials or to do. And part of it is we really don't know what we can do with a lot of this stuff just yet.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
There will be things that open up and go, wow, now we can do this. Holy cow, never thought of that.
Maximize your
We
time
can
and
work,
get some sleep so you're not doing those 14-hour days all the time or more.
or you could be vacationing in the how do you
Ooh,
pronounce it correctly? The Seychelles?
the Seychelles. Excellent. Oh, Jeffrey, you do your homework. Baby, baby,
I,
baby. I like that.
your books introduced me to a whole different arena,
You must go.
different places.
You must go. Heck, we could go and then take pictures and bring all that into AI, and everyone can take a moment and do it, add it to their meditation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
Mm.
more on AI if you want to. Something
Yep.
that I'm experimenting with right now. A friend of mine who gave me the opportunity to be on a movie production set for the first time ever. When he
Ooh,
called me up, it was one of those things. I'm having a really bad day emotionally, and just like not making progress. It's one of those days when just like, I'm not making progress. I don't know if this is ever going to work. But geez, I just got and my phone buzzes. Pick it up
magic.
and look at it. See this gentleman's name, and like going, oh, answer it and go, hey, what are we doing? Because it was, it was a good shot from the universe going, hey, enough of that. Let's get on with things. And asked if I'd like to help out with a short film that he was he was executive producer on, and one of the stars in. Rusty Coons was in Sons of Anarchy and
Ooh,
Mayans and a couple other reality TV shows.
very fun.
And yeah, it's just, and this is someone I know does everything in excellence. So it's about proximity. One of the reasons that I so enjoyed becoming friends, becoming colleagues with you, because you're part of my, part of gratitude. Part of my gratitude is what's going on with my proximity. Who do I get to spend time with? Who do I choose to spend time with? And the more that I'm surrounded by people that are just making stuff happen, that have a great joy in their lives, I'm going, yeah, I want more of that. I want to hang out with those folks.
Yeah, get some of that on me. Woo, get some of
Yeah,
that.
right. Get some on me here. Let me
Bring it up,
bring
everyone.
some back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me help spread it, amplify it. But it just, it has that positive cycle as opposed to, looking at the wall, tapping away on the computer, having that kind of Eeyore's winning
And this was
kind
your
of thing.
whisper for the day. That immediately perked you up, and then you went and did.
Went and crude. It was like whatever I could do. Swept the floor, did some directing, ran audio, did whatever it took. Right. Because it's one of those small independent short film productions where that was what was needed. And it was a great experience.
And
So
you could do your own avatar, because don't you love his voice? Ladies and gentlemen, I love Jeffrey Wolfe's voice.
thank
Ooh,
you.
could listen to it all day.
Why, thank you, ma'am.
Wow, you're most welcome, sir.
Where's my hat?
Yeah, so imagine you can be on the
Oh,
set, you could be helping companies, and you could be doing voiceovers or commercials on the side.
right. Yep. You're licensing your voice out to be used, especially as you have more of a following, with more recognition as an actor. because
Totally
there's the talent part of it, which is really the table stakes, and then there's the do people like working with you? Do people do audiences connect well with you? And which creates the opportunity to go, yeah, because of that, you're in demand. It's like, okay, here's ways that we can work together. If this meets your need, works for me because I'm in the Seychelles and I'm not going to be back for several weeks, so I can't make that production call. But we can do this.
Yeah, I love it.
So where I was going to go with that story, fast forward a year and a half, and we're at dinner, and he goes, "Hey, check this out," and he shows me a commercial that he created using AI. And I recognize it because it's a tool that I've experimented with, that I've used. He goes, "Hey, what do you think of this?" I was watching, I like it. And we talked about it and what we both thought looked good, what were the strengths and weaknesses of it. And I asked him, I go, "Did you use this particular tool?" And he goes, "Yes, I did." "How did you know?" And I go, "Because I'm using it too."
Nice.
And now he's, so that opens up another line of potential revenue, because then we had a conversation about that. Multiple streams of revenue. What's multiplying the streams of revenue? So that creates another potential stream of revenue, because here's someone that understands on set, on film, what it looks like, understands business, very sharp entrepreneur. And now he can offer that as a service to go, here, I can do this for your company to help you grow.
Eric wants to hang out with you more. The Wolf Man and the Mermaid. Look at us. Maybe we can come up with another revenue stream and have more fun, because like minds love to work and talk together. And don't you feel like, like I'm holding myself back from going.
How about this for a potential story franchise: The Wolf, the Mermaid, and the Preacher.
Oh, there you go, Eric. That's fun. We could do it. We could all do it so it's on AI, and we only have to do it once a month, and it can go out once a week or once a day in your morning slot, Eric.
Well, take for example. So I'm editing an interview that I did a while back, and some new AI tools are embedded in post-production editing now. So I was able to take Adobe's doing it, Blackmagic, who makes cameras and hardware, but they also make one of the leading editing tools, DaVinci Resolve, which is what I use. And it's possible to take that almost an hour and a half long interview, and it automatically cuts it up for me.
Hear that, Eric? My Eric R. Eric Outrageous
automatically edits out all the pauses where there's too much downtime. I can edit the transcript. So I'm getting so excited I can't get it all out at one time.
So excited, and I'm so excited.
So there's tools like that.
Grace joined. Grace is a poet. She was the Maryland laureate poet for 4 years. She is 92 years old and still has a podcast that she does at the Library of Congress. Is it weekly or monthly?
Wow.
She speaks. Her schedule is, we're like passing. We made an appointment. She took me out to brunch on last Saturday at Grump's. The woman is freaking amazing, and I love her so much. So thank you so much, Grace. We're just talking about how possibly the things that Jeffrey has, we could AI you so that you could be doing even more stuff from home.
Well, because that leads into, it's like, well, let's talk about workflow. What are we doing? Where can the AI tools help with workflow? So in creating, taking an interview and creating. Anyway,
she's right. I did. I had 2 entrees. And you were
Grace, I haven't met you yet, and I love you. Thank you so much for the example that you set with what you're doing with your life.
She is amazing. Encouraging. She is Grace personified.
No, it cannot.
Nope. So your job's safe. She teaches too, but you might be able to do, AI can maybe help you with your online course to put out there. Anyway, back to other things AI can do, as you were saying, Jeffrey.
Yeah, so it's like looking at workflow. So with re-editing an interview for social media, there's AI tools that'll take it and take an hour and a half long interview, break it up into 20 different 1 to 5 minute segments. It'll look at what from based on the transcript. It'll transcribe it itself, then look at the transcript and make discernments about, okay, these are key points in it. So we'll clip this, clip this, and then reformat them, take a side-by-side format like this and stack them so that it works really well on Instagram or other Reels type of social media sites. Put in, it just does everything for you. And then you can go back and tweak it and go, oh, I don't quite like that. And it'll adjust for you. So something that took hours can now be done in 10% of the time. So it helps with productivity in that sense.
We'll have to do it with this podcast, and we can send it out and people can see how it works.
There you go. That would be very exciting.
Very fun. Very, very, very fun.
So it's looking at that going, okay, so that's a workflow that helps with workflow. With the podcast, and we do what we do live on the podcast and interview. There's a lot of pre-work that's done that people don't see. There's a lot of post work that's done that people don't necessarily see. And then it makes it so much more productive, takes less time to be able to repurpose in order to give people highlights, to be able to make it appropriate, image appropriate for other social media sites.
And the people that only have the attention span of a gnat, they can get a couple nuggets and go.
I'm sorry, I was distracted there for a second. What did you say about attention span?
Oh, for audience members who have the attention span.
Gotcha.
Hey. Oh, I'm living up to my blonde. Yes. Yes.
I'm being awful.
Happy. You won't miss us. You can watch us at any time. You can get the message in a bottle, so to speak. And you can also make all your mentors happy by being live every day.
Yes.
That's a shout out to you for Ken Walls.
Absolutely.
And then after we do this with this podcast, we can do our AAR, our after action review. So are you all reviewing when you do stuff? As Jeffrey was saying that he always does, that's a military term, that we should be doing that in our own lives with each project to see how we can improve. Why don't you hit that a little bit there, sir, and finish your thought.
On after action reviews?
Yeah.
I
kind of jumped into your thing, but if we're going to do this podcast, I figured we'd do this podcast, then we do your little piece and send it out there. And then we go back and see what works, what doesn't work. And we can report back to you and you can see it yourself. You can follow and go, will this work for me? Will this work for me as a poet doing my lives from the Library of Congress? Could I use this? Because she goes there 4 times in person.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
that is wonderful.
She's also one of my mentors, and that's what I want to be. She is absolutely amazing. And so are you.
And AI, I'm going to make a bold statement here. AI will never replace that.
Or love,
sweet love. And break bread with someone like Grace and learn from her experience and her perspective and be, the energy that we get and give from each other when we get to meet face to face with someone. AI will never replace that.
Hallelujah.
And beware those that are trying to. Right. My personal take on it. It's back to GM and Toyota. I don't want to be in the let's get people out of the picture perspective. Right. It's how do we make the experience better for all of us perspective.
Yeah. Life would not be fun without you.
Right. Face of, something we learned in 2020.
And so as this
too much distance from each other doesn't work well for people.
That's right. And his book, Perform or Perish, kind of goes right in now, even though he wrote it a while ago. Perform or Perish is right applicable right now. As AI comes, you're either going to perform and embrace it or perish, just like GM did. And this is a 30-day race to save the company. Do you want to touch on this? And then I'll go to my favorite part.
Well, a book what I wanted to share was lessons learned from a real case study. And when I was this is one of my consulting projects that I was most proud of, because we saved a company that was going to close. They'd made the decision to close, and we were given the opportunity to go, look, if you can prove in 30 days that it makes sense to stay open, we'll do it. Because they really didn't want to close up. They just didn't see any way that they could continue to do business in because they're within the city limits of Los Angeles. Very high cost. They have rolling blackouts, which is not good for a manufacturing process. So there's a whole lot of things going on. We really just cannot afford to stay where we're at. We're going to close. And at the end of 30 days, they're going, okay, we'll stay. So
And you
we look, yeah, I got to play a strong leadership role in it, but there was a lot of people that were involved. It wouldn't have happened if they didn't do their part. And one of the chapters in the book is okay, here's the stuff I screwed up and don't like to talk about.
And that's a very good chapter, as a matter of fact.
ETS, behind the scenes.
13 points.
And one of the key lessons from that was resistance is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Criticism is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Anarchy cannot be tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a problem with a manager who had been around for a long time. He'd been with the company more than 15 years. And he was actively fighting what we were doing. And it's like, look, and I had sat him down one-on-one again and again and again. It's like, look, if we don't do this, nobody's going to have a job. And that's going to happen very soon. Right? We've got 30 days to prove that the decision to close should be reversed. And he was just adamant. It's like, no, he's going to keep doing what he's doing. And because he'd been around for a while, he had a lot of sway with the workforce. So we had 180 people. So looked at that and go, the leadership, my counterpart, he and I, the conversations that we had in our meetings was, we felt the weight of, we've got 180 families hanging on this factory being where it's at. We don't want to see it go. If we fail, that we're going to have to tell those 180 families, we're sorry, we just couldn't get it done for you. So we had a conversation specific to this guy going, look, what do we do here? Right? We're making a lot of changes. This is tough on everybody. How do we want to be? What culture do we want to have? Right? Culture is based on what behavior you exhibit within a company, within an organization. And here's someone who's been with the company. He's highly respected. He's put in 15 plus years. Do we honor that work? Or do we walk him out the door with a box full of stuff? And
attitude.
Right. The decision we came to, and I endorsed it, was, look, let's push him off to the side. We'll put him in charge of another department somewhere else. That was a bad mistake because he had so much influence. But what we wanted to do, the other thing is, you've probably experienced this when you're in a leadership role, it's a fishbowl, right? Everybody is watching what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And we knew this was being watched closely. And we didn't have, by any stretch of the imagination, we did not have a majority of the workforce on board with what we were attempting to do, even though they knew they were going to lose their jobs. So they're watching to see, what does he win? Does he lose? How do we handle this? So we thought, you know what, want to honor those years of experience and make it clear to go, look, we're going to put you over here. You're going to run this department. Early in my career, somebody said, yeah, called it a get well tour. It's like, look, this can't stand the way you're reacting to this, the way you're behaving. So we're going to put you over here because you've been here for a long time. We want to honor that. And we talked openly about that with the change. Ultimately ended up firing him. But by the time we got to that, it was very different. We had the workforce coming along with us because we weren't cold-hearted about it. I didn't walk in with an MBA with a super sharp pencil that was so sharp it was cutting everybody. Yeah. And it made a difference. It hurt what we were doing. The lesson was, you know what, we should have fired him up front and made it clear that the reason that he was fired was because he was actively undermining what we were attempting to do. Because we needed the criticism. That was part of the message too. It's like, look, we need your criticism. if you're not on board with what we're doing, because that will prevent us from making dumb mistakes. We know we don't have the perfect answer.
Yeah.
So please criticize. Let's have a conversation around that. But if you undermine us, if you want to set the building on fire, then we're not going to accommodate that.
Contrary to Michael Jackson's song, one bad apple does spoil the bunch. So, what's the point here, guys? Fire quickly.
Hire slow, fire fast.
Uh-huh.
One of my mentors, Larry Broughton, taught me that: hire slow, fire fast. But, and again, I still think, to be honest, I still think the right decision was give him some space.
Very nice of you, charitable.
We should have fired faster. Well, who do you want
It's
to,
a
back to proximity, where do you want to be? Especially because case study I haven't written yet
yeah.
is a company that went under because they did exactly the opposite. They were in a death spiral and they couldn't get out of it, and they drove out all the people they needed to save the company, because they're laying people off, they're circling down, they're not listening to anybody, they're just like autocratic control. Which, I mean, in leadership styles, right? When the building's on fire, you do not do consensus decision making, right? It's like you get people that start barking orders and go, we need to do this here, grab that, can we put this out, go get those people over there, get out in the parking lot, get out of here. You do what you got to do in the moment because the building's on fire and it's immediate, imminent life and death. So a little bit of autocratic decision making. Okay.
But circle back and do your AAR and
yeah. And when it's for normal stuff, especially when it's going through tough times, do you want to be part of the company that as soon as there's a little bit of a hiccup, they're throwing the people that are the most expensive, because most expensive on payroll, we're going, let's get rid of all the long timers, that'll save us a bunch of money. How many companies have we seen do that in the headlines?
Yeah.
You really want to work there. And in the small business world, I don't think that's what anybody really wants. Certainly not amongst business owners. That's not the environment that business owners that I've worked with have wanted to create. Certainly not the place that people want to work.
That's what I was thinking. Run. And then the word gets out that then who else? How are you going to get good people? Of course,
Isn't
often good people, but then they left because they were so good.
Yeah.
So you got to like.
And we see that in media. We started out talking about the media industry, about filmmaking. We see the headlines for that. Who are the directors that people like to work with, and there's a whole cottage industry that makes millions just running the rumors around that. Who doesn't want to work with this director because they're a nightmare on the set? Which talent, which well-known actors are rumored or not rumored to be hard to work with, so it's hard to get a good production team around them. There was a story years and years ago about a CEO of a Fortune 500 company that had a whole team around him. Nobody was allowed to talk to him directly because he was such an awful person to deal with. He was rude, foul-mouthed, dismissive of people, treated people like crap. But he was brilliant in the strategy and in the running of the company. So they just put a whole team of vice presidents around this person and ringed them and made sure nobody got to have direct contact.
I guess it worked.
And it did. It preserved the culture of the company. Problem was, when he retired, or I think he actually died of a heart attack at work, company collapsed.
Oh, that would be a problem, because then he wasn't sharing how to do it. His knowledge got lost, and the legacy was not carried on, and he wasn't promoting from within, and he wasn't supporting his people. Oh my goodness. Got it.
I am liking your friend Grace more and more by the moment, because that is a truism right there. Everyone wants to work with Cynthia.
Oh, thank you. I do have some amazing clients that have stuck with me for over 23 years.
But here, and this comes back to when we get to meet face to face, when we get to break bread and get to know people, something that just gives me chills being able to say this. The first time that we met, I had been sitting back going, I hope I get a chance to talk to this woman, because when you blow into the room, it's like the temperature goes up, the lighting goes up. There's a nice Seychelles breeze blowing through the room. It's just, everything gets better.
Wow.
You have that type of personality where you're just bringing fun while still being deadly serious, playfulness while still being frighteningly smart, and all. So there's this wonderful mix. It's like going, yeah, those are the people. You are someone that people want to work with because you bring so much to everything that you do, and that personality of going, hey, you know what, we're going to do this, and we're going to have some fun doing it, and it's just the way it's going to be. Who would not want to work with someone like that?
Let's hire him. Woo! Wow. I'm glad this is recorded. I'm going to play that back all the time.
I'll put that in writing if you'd like for a
Oh,
fee we
yes,
can
please.
negotiate.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Let me see. I like
Right, but
that.
if we don't enjoy the journey, especially you were talking about your experience with motor clothes for Harley Davidson. Hey,
Yes.
that's not something that's historically considered a fun industry.
And I had the best time. It
Yeah,
was
right.
so fun. It
I
was so
would
fun.
be surprised if it were otherwise.
Oh, yeah. You should have been there. It was woo, out of this world. I was the national merchandiser for Harley Davidson Expo 2000 in 2000, probably.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was my office was actually in New York City. And I remember calling up, I was trying to sell my leathers and my t-shirts, and I called up Bergdorf Goodman's, and they kept hanging up on me. I worked on it for about a year. And finally they said, have you ever been in our store? And I was like, yes, that's why I'm telling you about this. So I got Bloomingdale's, and that was my first $1 million order. And we had a motorcycle in every window from Long Island Harley in Long Island, New York. And
Wow.
they built me a turntable. Well, us, I mean, there was always a whole team, right? So the 3 motorcycles drove in, and then the models came out, and the store was closed. It was an invitation only thing, and it was amazing. And then when Bergdorf Goodman called me up, I had to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm sold out." Anyway, I mention this because Jeffrey has a bike, a beautiful bike, and he's a rider. You want to tell him about your bike? Just because it's from way back then, but it's still fun. And you went to Arizona, and you do so many fun adventures.
Sheila, she takes care of me. She's Sheila.
Shayla.
I walk out in the garage. She says, "Good day, mate."
Sweet, sweet. And she's black. My car's black. Mine's black
Mhm.
pearl. It is so fun to live life and experience everything with the childlike wonder that you have. And you are so good giving comments to people in all of the different meetings and masterminds we're in. Everyone just loves to hear your voice and then hear what you have to say. And I thank you for my comments. And
Well, and it's true. I mean, when I say it's an honor to be on your podcast, it really is, because you're one of the people that's on my, I guess proximity list is the best way to put it, but on my gratitude list in terms of people whom I have had the honor of getting to know. Because they're looking and go, wow, okay, there's 2 things about that. If we can talk about who we hang out with, proximity a little bit.
sure.
It's the on the days, something I learned from my dad. He goes, look, some days you are going to be so good, you're going to pinch yourself to make sure you're awake and alive and just go, wow, this is really happening. Because some days you are going to wake up in the morning, open one eye and go, oh God, not again.
Can I pull the
Because
cover
it's
up?
just, yeah. And he goes, and it's just life. Because
Mhm.
some days are great, some days are not so great. And on those days where I'm opening one eye and going, oh man, I've got my gratitude list of people. I go, wow, you know what? I get to know these people. That gives me hope, because now I have gotten to know these people, you and some of our other friends and colleagues, and we all have a story,
Good people.
right? We all have stories of those days where we had to pinch ourselves, and those days or seasons, as it might be. It might be a day, might be a season where we are, we're opening one eye and going, oh man, still really. And to see, who you are today, how you conduct yourself, the energy that you bring in to everything that you do, the excellence that you bring in to everything that you do. I go, there is hope for me. Not going, oh, well, if she can do it, I can do it. So,
It's true, though.
not from that, not from that standpoint. It's from the standpoint of I get to see this person's example. There's hope for me that I can do better today than I did yesterday.
And Jeffrey, don't you find that those days are getting less and less? Aren't your
Depends.
joyful days are getting bigger and better?
Yes. Yes, there's way more joyful days. And there was some really dark stuff way back in the day.
And you've come a
Hold that
long way,
thought. Hold that
baby, as
thought.
they say.
Hold that. Yeah, right. Because I did. We'll come back to that. Hold that thought. I'll come back around to that. Because I want to finish this thought. And the other part of that is I look at my friends and colleagues that I have gotten to know and that I value today and that are on my gratitude list, like you, and you mentioned Ken Walls. There's many other people, Glenn
Glenn Moore,
Morshower, these people we mentioned.
Patricia,
Patricia, yeah, Eric, who's been chatting with us as part of this conversation. And
who's
I
so
look at that and I go, holy cow. It affects my image of myself because I look at the people that I get to associate with, that I have friendships with, that I respect and get respect back from. And I look at that and go, I can't believe I've become the man that deserves to be amongst these people, that has earned the right to be amongst these people.
oh, oh. And
So it's
Patricia just
encouraging from that
sent
way.
loving kisses. How about that?
Hmm?
Patricia just sent you loves and kisses. How about
Thank
that?
you, Patricia.
Because you are amazing. You have so many gifts and so much to offer the world. You just call me anytime you're in the low thing and you need a breath of sunshine.
Okay. Well, and look, Patricia, an incredible human being, one of the top artists in the world. Love and a big hug to you, Patricia. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it.
She's
But
amazing.
it's
Thank
just,
you for being here.
and it's like, how did we get here?
I'm
And
myself,
there's a
right?
lot of exactly, and there's a lot of people that that have um, different mindsets about that, which I did at one point in my life, and it's really about shifting that mindset and going, oh, wait a minute, well, why not me?
Exactly.
Cards are stacked against me. Okay, how am I going to play that hand better? Win a lot of money bluffing, right? So these are the cards I was dealt. Now, am I going to make that a huge issue about, oh, these are the cards, and I'm going to stand up, do the old Western thing and go, these cards are marked, stand up, and get ready to draw over the hand? Or am I going to figure out how to win the game, win the table by playing that hand that I've been dealt to the best of my ability and then some? Because by being able to have friendships and colleagues like yourself, like Patricia, and the other people that we've mentioned, I can play the hand better than I could have given my ability in the moment, because you all give me what I need to know in order to play it better. And I'm going, oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Okay, let's do that.
Wow.
And I see that a lot in companies that have succeeded and companies that have failed.
Mm-hmm.
The case study that I wrote around, that we got enough people that were willing to go, okay, I'm in. Because I asked them, I go, look, give me 30 days. The people that, as I got to know the workforce there, picked out the people that I needed to do what we needed to do in those 30 days and said, give me 30 days. That's all I'm asking. If I don't deliver in those 30 days, don't expect you to ever want to talk to me again. It's just like, this is all I'm asking. This is just, here's the stakes. If we don't deliver in 30 days, it's all over for all of us. But not asking you to go, okay, this is the way it's going to be forever. And we were able to move the ball forward. Enough people were willing to take that leap and go, okay. And I had matured to a point where I was able to take the criticism and the questions and the feedback that came so that we could make adjustments and course corrections. Because we only achieved about 80% of what I knew we could achieve in terms of making the company run better. But it was considered a failure based on what I said we could do to ownership of the company. And their response back was fail like that and all you want. The thing was, I'd matured to a point where I knew if I pushed them to get that other 20%, I was going to lose their commitment, their belief, their respect.
Mm.
Because I taught them how to do what I knew. So when we got to that 80%, they had created all of the changes that the company needed to make.
You taught them well.
And that, and I just did what I'd been taught. Like, knew where we needed to go. So I created the map, put together the training and the meeting, the structure for the project around it, and go, here's what we need to do. Let's rock and roll.
And you all know in your hearts what you need to do. You need to listen to those whispers. And it is actually over the top of the hour a little bit now. And I know we're just getting into it. Oh, I want to put my arms around you and give you a hug and hear more. I wish we could, meet for coffee or tea but we will.
Or we can do a virtual coffee.
Yes, we will. We will. And we will try this, guys, and you'll get your email little thank you. And I think you had a little something you're going to tell them about from your email.
I have a summary that I've been working on. It's like a executive summary cheat sheet for the AI stuff that we were talking about earlier.
Ooh.
That it hasn't been released yet.
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen.
The only way, if you're interested in this, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this on replay, if you're interested in this, reach out to Cynthia.
And go ahead.
And
Eric, please put up.
We will send you the summary of AI thoughts on how to proceed right now. What do we, it's like AI for the rest of us. Here's things that are happening. It's like, okay, fine, but what do I do? What do I do with this? Because I'm a recovering engineer. I would love to geek out on the technology, but if I was going to become a coder, that would have been something to do 20, 30 years ago. I mean, we're working with artificial intelligence when I was working for an organization I can't name, in the early 90s. We're doing government work. So I've looked at some of this tech along the way, and it's just like, well, with where I'm at in life, how do I dip my toe into this? How do I make use of it so that I don't get run over by it? It's coming from that perspective, not from a technical perspective. And it includes some connections to, look, if you want to dive into the tech, here's places to look that can help you start on that journey as well.
So, Jeffrey A. Wolfe giving you the keys to the kingdom going forward. So make sure you sign up here, perform@adventureceo.com, and let us know how it works for you. We want to know, and we'll follow up with our little
and mention this live stream with Cynthia, because
please.
This will only get released to your community, Cynthia. So this is why you need to watch Cynthia's live streams, why you need to be engaged with Cynthia and be part of her community, because you get opportunities like this to go, hey, you know what? Here's some information nobody else is getting yet. So it gives you a little bit of a head start.
And if you want to see those sunsets with Jeffrey, it is Wolfe's Watch Live. It's a good name too. You can do a lot with that name. I like it. You might want to get this little AI cheat sheet and get it in Amazon really quick and just like bam it out, because I bet everyone would pick it up. Just saying.
This one, I thought about that. I've got something else kind of queued up to move in that direction. This is something that I learned from a CFO of a major company. When we were talking about something, he goes, I can't participate. We were talking about doing some work, and normally it would be, you get an affiliate fee or a finder's fee, or you take part of a deal that you help put together. And he said, you know what? Because I have a fiduciary responsibility to my clients. Because so I never do that.
Yeah, I've never done it either.
Because I leave money on the table doing that. But he said the long-term relationships are more important. Mm-hmm. So I've kept that with me, and this is something where I want to put this together and release it so that it can help people. I don't want to monetize it because it's the right thing to do. There's other things that I'm doing in that space. The one we had a project that went live in November that's pretty incredible. That's AI driven. those things are meant for commercial activities. This is just meant, and hey, here's what I'm learning. Let me share it with you.
You're the best. Don't you love Jeffrey A. Wolfe? I keep saying the A because I searched through a lot of Jeffrey Wolfe's. Oh, yes, we should have Eric on for virtual coffee too. Okay,
Yes, yes,
ladies and
indeed.
gentlemen, we love you. I'm pinching myself. Life is so good. I hope your life is so good. Keep reaching
Yes.
for the gratitude every day in every little thing. You can just be walking down the street and be happy that you're walking, be happy that you're breathing, be happy that you can see the trees, and it's springtime, so everything's coming up so beautifully. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, Jeffrey Wolfe. Hang on a minute. We're going to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Share this out. Tell your friends to watch the replay and get this lovely gift from Jeffrey A. Wolfe. Thank you.